What's up, guys, and welcome to another box office breakdown where the numbers don't lie. And we go over what the people really want to see and what they're feeling. So this week we open with Jungle Cruise. That is the big movie of the weekend, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Emily Blunt. So let's head on over to Box Office Mojo to see how it did. So the opening weekend number for Jungle Cruise is $35,018,731 exactly. Now, as this is being recorded after Monday, so we have the Monday actuals to go with and not just the estimates. The estimates always give what you're usually going to get, fluctuation of about $1 million or less. So, but we have the actual numbers with Jungle Cruise at 35 million. I believe the estimates had it at 34, 36. So either way, it swung about just $1 million. So where does this put The Rock? Well, this is actually typical for a standard Dwayne Johnson opening. You go back to Jumanji, even though we look at how that movie almost made $1 billion, it didn't open that big. Jumanji opened with around the same. It was about a $37 million, the first Jumanji. And then it went on to gross 800 to 900 million worldwide, almost $1 billion picture. Now, do I expect Jungle Cruise to have those legs? Hell no. There's no way it's going to have those legs. As we've seen during the pandemic, movies drop big in their second weekend. I think A Quiet Place 2 was the only one to hang on a little bit better than, say, Fast 9 and Black Widow. Now, Jungle Cruise did not open to either of those. Not Fast 9, not Black Widow. It didn't open as big. But I don't see this as a failure. Now, this movie more than likely had about $150 million budget. So you're wondering, well, where is this going to make that money? So let's talk about the Disney Plus numbers that they have once again released. Disney is once again doing this. It bit them in the ass the last time, which they're getting sued by Scarlett Johansson. That is an entirely different topic, but it goes into this. But if I had an entire video, I thought about making one. It just didn't happen. To talk about what's going on with ScarJo, I would, but I warned them. I fair warned them in my very first Numbers Don't Lie video. I said, Disney, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't reveal those numbers. You're gonna set a precedent, and now look at you. You're getting sued by one of your own stars, which is a hell of an about face for Scarlett Johansson. She's been on Team Disney this entire time, and next thing you know, she's just like, fuck you, Disney. But back to these numbers. So they got $30 million from Disney Plus. Disney has revealed for Jungle Cruise. That's about half, exactly half, actually, on what Black Widow got from Disney Plus, which was $60 million. This is not a Marvel movie, okay? So let's not expect Marvel numbers. You should expect Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson numbers, Emily Blunt numbers. And as we've seen with both of them, they open in the mid to higher 30s and then in the 40s. The Rock's biggest hits came with the Fast and Furious franchise. That's where he was hitting over 60 million, etc. His typical fare is middle 30s to higher grade 30s. Now, it's all going to depend on the legs. But we're in the pandemic. Nothing has legs here. Though, and I'm not going to count this towards any real box office reporting, though Jungle Cruise could find a lot of money in the ancillary market on PVOD, rentals, all of that. I think Jungle Cruise could have legs there. I think Jungle Cruise, once it goes to Disney Plus for free, is going to be trending in the top 10, I say, for weeks. Not that I've seen the movie, just based on word of mouth, just based on, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's history. I think that the Jungle Cruise is going to make money later on. But as I said before, I got to be fair here. Studios want their money as quick as possible, as fast as possible, up front at the box office. They don't want to wait a year down the road and say, oh, we finally made our money back. No, they want it within those first 3 months, because that's when the movie makes a bulk of its money at the theaters. So what is Jungle Cruise going to do at the theaters? It's going to have a big drop next weekend, probably about 50 to 60%. Based on the word of mouth, I don't think it's going to hit that Black Widow 67% drop, especially opening much lower than Black Widow did. So we will see. And again, Black Widow opening as big as it did, but then dropping as big as it did, shows you that a lot of people just went to go and see the movie. And the media has to quit blaming streaming for this. This isn't streaming's fault, okay? Jungle Cruise only earned half of the money on streaming and is still open lower than Black Widow. Okay? What about other movies like Fast 9 that only opened theaters only? Okay? That opened less than Black Widow. And right now, Fast 9 is at $168 million domestically. Black Widow's at 167. They're both around the exact same number, and Black Widow has 2 lesser weeks at the box office. So Scarlett Johansson's case here isn't as strong. Now, maybe contractually that's strong. I'm not going to dive into that here. But as far as numbers go, and them blaming streaming, you can't really do that here. It's not working out. Now, some people are going to say F9 didn't have as good as critic reviews. F9 didn't have that great word of mouth. Maybe so. Maybe you're right there. It didn't have as good critic reviews. It didn't have as good a word of mouth as Black Widow. But Black Widow, as I said in my previous report, it just came a little too late. So while F9 was suffering from bad reviews and bad word of mouth, Black Widow was suffering from the fact that it just came out way too late. Not as many people was excited about that movie. I'm seeing more excitement for Shang-Chi and Eternals because that is different, that is something new, and those characters are alive and well. At least as far as we know. So how can we get excited for a character that we know is dead? That was the biggest thing in the first place. We know her ending. Now we're going back in the past. That's the bad thing about prequels. That's why The Hobbit never lived up to The Lord of the Rings. We already know what's going to happen. Therefore, this story is almost irrelevant. You're not telling us anything new. We are just seeing the journey that was glossed over in Lord of the Rings. We're just seeing it again. So here we go. We're just seeing what Black Widow was doing between Civil War and Infinity War. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't affect the Marvel Universe. At least not the way that Loki just did. So, a lot less hype. And once again, third weekend, Black Widow fell 44%. Not too bad considering it's a fourth week, my fault. It's in its fourth week. But it had 2 big drops prior. So now it's pretty much at the end of its run. It's not going to make too much more money here. Now, another big opening was The Green Knight. The Green Knight opened with $6.7 million. That's A24, independent. I put quotes around that, not truly independent. But for a movie like that, that's not too bad, especially during the pandemic times. A24, all their movies are small. They never typically open that big. The Green Knight had a budget of about $15 million. So making that, yeah, it looks like it might make its money back. This is just domestically. As far as worldwide, it hasn't even opened worldwide. Wow. Okay, I don't know when that's going to happen, if it's going to happen. So, will it cross 15 million? It would have to get 30 to break even. So, it depends on if it's actually going to come out domestically anytime soon. With the Delta variant getting worse, I would hate to be waiting on that, you know. We see what's going on with Black Widow. It still ain't open in China. Disney is like, what the hell is going on there? Worldwide, Black Widow's at 344 million. I said that it needs about 500 million to break even. We're not there, and without China, we're probably not going to get there. We'll see what happens with this Delta variant. It looks like it's just getting worse and worse. If people just could get vaccinated, it wouldn't be a problem. So we got Space Jam: A New Legacy in its third week, dropping another 54%. Total domestic cum, $60 million. We got Snake Eyes in its second week, dropping 69.6, rounded up 70%. Snake Eyes basically dropped 70% in its second weekend to $4 million. This is the biggest story here. Not Jungle Cruise or Green Knight or Stillwater. The failure of Snake Eyes is nail-biting. It's jarring. Like, wow. I would never wish that on a franchise like that, on like G.I. Joe. Because I feel like they tried to do the right thing. I still haven't personally watched the movie. Just based on what I'm seeing from the trailers, it felt like they were trying to go the right direction and they were trying to do the right thing. The execution obviously doesn't seem to have worked. Bad word of mouth from critics and audiences were kind of met on it. So there's nothing to help Snake Eyes. There's no word of mouth to boost those numbers. There's no critic mouth to boost those numbers. Snake Eyes is just flat out dead at this point. It's done. It's finished. It's finito. So that sucks. You know, it sucks for the cast. Sucks for all the people behind the scenes because they're all talented. You know, that was a talented cast. They got some great Asian talent. Hope to see them again. But it was just a miss. Something messed up there with either the direction of the film. You know, I don't think it was the acting. I've heard nothing bad about the acting, but obviously the direction of that film just didn't work with audiences. And G.I. Joe, as I mentioned before, is not that hot property like Transformers or even Masters of the Universe or any of those older 80s properties. It's not there with it. I don't know what to do with G.I. Joe at this point. At this point, if you're an executive, you have to be sitting in your chair saying, we're not going to try this again. We're done. G.I. Joe, let that shit rest for a solid 2 to 3 decades because it's not working. We've tried, this is the third attempt where we have tried G.I. Joe and it's not working. It's not hitting Transformers numbers. It's not having the staying power of anything. The first 2 G.I. Joes made more than this. And of course, again, we have pandemic. But, even if you take the pandemic out of it, I don't see Snake Eyes being that big of a movie, do you? So, yeah, man, it's bad all around. Paramount just took a big, massive L on that one. Hate to say it. F9 dropping 44, Escape Room, and the rest is your typical fare. So, guys, the box office is kind of dying again, and I don't think there's any recovery anytime soon. I hope great things for Shang-Chi. That's one I'm excited about. But with people still hesitant to go to the movies, rightfully so, I just don't know. I just don't know what to expect from Shang-Chi. If I had to throw a number out there, I think it does open more than Jungle Cruise. I don't see it opening better than Black Widow, and I do not see it opening higher than F9. So I'm going to say that when Shang-Chi comes out, that's the next big film. I estimate about 40 to 44 million. It's just not looking good box office wise. We thought we were in recovery there for a minute. F9 and Black Widow had those big openings, and Space Jam did better than we thought. No, we're not there yet. And this is why we can't blame streaming. Everyone's just like, hold the movies. People aren't going to go see the shit if you've been sitting on it for 3 years. So that doesn't work either. So streaming is not the cause of this. Streaming is helping. You're getting more money by streaming it because you get all that subscription money. You get you don't have to split it with anyone really. Maybe 10% to the people that put it on their devices, Amazon, Roku, people like that. But it's not 45%. It's not 40%. So it's not the theaters taking a big chunk out of it. We need to be happy. And this method of releasing things simultaneously, I honestly am one of those people. I don't think it should go away. I don't see it as the proponent hurting this box office the way some others in the media like to say. To me, there's just no substantial proof. When you look at Snake Eyes, when you look at F9, there's no substantial proof. When you look at The Green Knight, there's no substantial proof to say that it's been hurt by streaming because none of those opened simultaneously with a streaming service. So, argue that. If you can give me a solid argument as to why those movies didn't make a lot of money compared to Jungle Cruise and Black Widow and Space Jam, which also didn't make a lot of money, simultaneous openings versus non-simultaneous openings, you cannot blame streaming for this. You just can't do it. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the numbers because the numbers don't lie. And that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you will. I greatly appreciate it. Please subscribe, as I have been doing this weekly for 3 weeks now. I'm going to keep it going. Though next week I'm on vacation. There might not be a Numbers Don't Lie video. So until next time, guys. See ya.